Alright, and we're back. In the last episode I was talking about constructive criticism on videos, on gaming videos specifically, versus just ripping a game apart. And I had said that it's different to say, oh, this game is terrible, don't buy it, the devs really messed up all this stuff. Or, when you criticize a game, you could say, oh, they did this wrong, I think they could improve it by incorporating this into the game. Which is a much better way to do it, in my opinion. Because you're still saying what you don't think is right, but you're offering a fix to the developer, or not really a fix, but what you think would be better. So the developer could incorporate that into their next game, or perhaps release a patch for this one that changes it. Now, it's different for like RPGs and stuff, because those are very, for the most part, RPGs are, oh shoot. RPGs are for the most part very, not beginner friendly. You basically, for a lot of RPGs don't teach you how to play them, which can be a big issue for people, especially bigger developers out there who don't want a difficult game. But for the most part, including a tutorial with your game is like standard nowadays. So what I prefer in games is if you have a tutorial, but you also have something to skip the tutorial for those players who either know how to play or don't want a tutorial. For the most part, I will do a tutorial, but if I'm playing with friends, we basically have like a silent pact to never look at tutorials for games. So we will never look at tutorials, or if I'm playing a game on my channel, I will never look at the tutorial. Quick view rather. For something like quick view, I will never look at the tutorial, because I want to see if the developer can get me hooked into the game within about an hour. That's what I usually spend on quick view. Sometimes longer for different games. Like I think for Chromagun I played for an hour. For Rocket League I played for a little bit more to get into it a bit. And then I actually don't have another quick view lined up. I was gonna do one, but didn't work out. Okay, now I just have to get to the end. There. I think that for the most part though, most game developers are at least competent in being able to go, oh hey, this is how you play, or hey, if you want to know how to play, there's a thing here, but you don't have to, it's just an option. Dang it. Oh, dang it. I think for the most part a lot of developers are decent at it, but it's the difference between being decent and being good at it. Like, if you have a sequel to a game that was like super highly praised and like it's really good and you want the sequel, I think what you should do is not put a tutorial in your second game. Put it as an option in your second game. Do not force it upon the players. In your first game, by all means, put a tutorial in. But I would say never make a tutorial mandatory. I think that is a terrible idea. Unless if it's like, I think a tutorial should only be mandatory in a case of your game is extremely different from normal standards. Like, your game is like a, instead of being like a standard shooter or an action shooter, your game is something more like a strategy shooter. Then in that case, you probably want to put a tutorial in because that's not a normal game type. Or like, it's not very common. If you have a very uncommon type of game, then a tutorial is probably necessary. But even then, keep it as an option. I don't want to have to play a tutorial to play your game. Then again, these are just my opinions, and well, my opinion as a gamer for almost almost 20 years now. So I think my opinions do matter, and I do know the difference between a good game and a bad game, which is why I started QuickView. I didn't want to do a regular review show because there are honestly people out there who would do it so much better than me. Like, for example, one of the reviewers that I do enjoy watching a lot is Some Call Me Johnny. He is very thorough in his reviews, and I respect his opinions. I don't agree with all of them, but I do respect his opinions on a lot of subjects. And I think that if I were to start a review channel, there would be no way that I would be able to even get close to how good and how thorough he is with his reviews. I would be doing a disservice, I believe, in that place. But I mean, even then, that's my opinion. I don't think I'd be able to be as good, which is why I started my own review system based off of the only few first parts. It's basically how good a developer is at hooking you into the game. The game might be terrible after the first hour, but that's not what QuickView is about. QuickView is about just, is the game good within the first hour? Because as a general sense, that gives you a good scope on the entire game. As a general sense, it's very, very broad. I know some games that are fantastic within their first hour, but then after that they're terrible. Like, for example, a lot of shooters I've played, they're pretty good at the start, but then they just get terrible. Or games like most MOBAs, like your League of Legends, your Dota 2, your Heroes of the Storm, most of those are good off the start, terrible for the long run. Because they get you into the game, but then after you reach a certain point, you have to know so much about the game to even do decently that it's just terrible. That's why I'm never gonna do a review on Dota 2, because I really don't like it. Just because it's so complex. When I started playing Dota 2, I was so confused, and I got yelled at so much for not knowing how to play the game. Even though, just like everyone else, I'm just starting out. Or just like everyone else should be, with all the people making new accounts and starting over because they want to play against new players. But when I started, I started playing Dota 2 a little bit after I started playing League of Legends. I think League of Legends for the most part has a better tutorial. It eases you into the game better. You're not allowed to use all the summoner spells off the start. You're not allowed to use all the champions off the start. Which I think is better. I don't like that off the start in Dota 2 you can choose every champion, which is very contrary to what a lot of people like. They're like, oh yeah, I don't have to buy them. Like in League, I have to save up this money and then I have to buy every champion, and that takes so long, which I will admit, it takes an extremely long time. I've been playing for 3 years and I still don't have all the champions. But I think it's a better system. It eases you into the game. Since you're not allowed every option off the start, players don't feel overwhelmed. Like, what do I do now? What do I have to do here? What's this do? And then, whereas in something like Dota 2, it's, okay, here, you can pick everyone, you can use every item, you can play up to, I think, 8 or 10 game modes right off the start. It's crazy. The variety is good, but, oh shoot. But me as a new player, I'm just completely overwhelmed. I can't get into a game like that. I mean, if you check my Steam profile, I think I almost have 30 hours in the game, and I still have no clue what I'm doing half the time. I didn't even know until almost 30 hours that you could kill your own creeps. You could kill your own minions. I didn't know you could do that. And apparently that's a thing you can do. I don't know how to do it, I just know you can do it. Apparently you can kill your own minions, your own towers, and yourself. I didn't know you could do that. Things didn't really explain it to me. I mean, sure, I could go through every tutorial for an entire hour. Like, I could go through one tutorial section every hour, and there's quite a few in there, so I don't want to spend 10 hours getting to know how to play your game. Well, to be fair, League of Legends is also fairly long, but not quite that long. I think League of Legends is about 3 or 4 hours, and then you can kind of get into the game. But if I were to start playing League of Legends now, I would never play it as much as I do or did. There's no way I'd be able to start another game like League of Legends now, because I would not have the patience to do that. I don't want to be in your game for 4 hours and only then start playing a game. The only way I would ever do that is by probably if I had friends with me and they had played the game and I thought it was super good. That would be the only reason for me to ever do that. But I mean, not anymore. A game here like Chips Challenge, you just go. The tutorial is integrated into the game. Where the first 10 levels are tutorial levels, and zip, can't do that in the Lynx version. The first 10 levels in this game are based around getting to know the game and getting to know the mechanics of the game. I could go back and highlight them, but I won't for the most. I'm not going to do that. I'll just highlight a few things. One level has ice where you slip across it. Like, the first level teaches you all about keys, and it also teaches you that you only need one green key to get anywhere. It gives you enough keys to do what you need to do, except for the green one. It'll only give you one green key, and that gets you wondering, how am I supposed to do anything? And then you just like, okay, well, I'll go through the green door. You go through the green door, your green key doesn't go away. So you know, oh, green keys last more than once. And it's the way the tutorial is presented that really helps with a game. I actually didn't find League of Legends on my own. My brother recommended it to me. So he recommended it to me, and I've been playing for 3 years now, which I think is weird, because I played off the start, and I thought the game was terrible. Like, why do I have to play, get to level whatever in-game, and then I go out of the game, and I start all over again, every game? That's terrible. So I actually dropped the game after I started playing for a few months. I dropped it for about 3 months, and then I saw a video on YouTube. I don't know who it was, but some big YouTuber now was playing it, and they were doing all these things, and they were having a lot of fun. So I thought, you know what, I'll give it another try. So I gave it another try, and I loved it. So something between that first and second time, I thought, you know what, this game is pretty good. The progression in League of Legends is actually really good as well, because you have runes and masteries, and every time you level up, you get one more of those slots. You get one more rune slot, and you get one more mastery slot. And that allows you to be stronger off the start of the game. Now, you could just be the average scrub, and just go online and go, okay, what rune should I take for this character? What mastery should I take for this character? Done. But I don't do that for the most part. What I do is I experiment and see what works well. Like, if I think this character is pretty strong, then I actually usually stay away from the really popular strong characters because I don't like it. I played for a long time I played the champion Lux, which is very focused on light. She's a light mage, and she started getting really strong in season 3 or season 4, so I just dropped her. I didn't want to play her anymore because she was constantly getting she was getting nerfed a lot, and I don't really like people would always pick her in matches, and I don't like sharing champions. So for the most part, I play very unpopular champions. Like right now I'm playing Kale, who's pretty unpopular. I was playing Aurelia for a while, but she's kind of popular now, so I kind of just put her down. I played Jin a lot. He's fairly popular right now though, so I might switch out. I play a lot of Misfortune in Ezreal. Ezreal's not quite as popular, but ADCs in general are fairly popular, so there's kind of hard to play an unpopular ADC unless you play like Corki. Although I have been playing Corki a bit. He's pretty fun. The mixed damage is really fun to play. But again, with League of Legends, I like it that you can't play everyone right off the start, because the way it works is there's a free champion rotation, and for 1 week, specific champions are free, so you can play those champions. And then after that week is over, you can't play those champions anymore. And it's a common argument is, well, if I'm trying to get really good at a champion, then why is this good? If I want to get really good with a champion, I want to be able to play them again and again and again, and not have to pay for it. Well, I'm going to be real with you here. That's a terrible argument, because if you really want to play the champion, you'll buy them. And if you don't want to play the champion, you won't buy them. It's like, well, I shouldn't have to buy it because all the champions should be free. I don't think that's the case. What was it? I think it was Deadlock said it. MatPat from Game Theory in the show Deadlock said, being able to not buy every champion off the start is good because it encourages variety. And that statement couldn't be more true. If I start a game and all I want to do, if I play a regular shooter game and all I want to do is play sniper, and that's the only thing I ever want to do, the game is going to get boring really fast, and I'm not going to like the game very much. However, if I play something like Star Wars Battlefront, I'll just use that as an example, where I have to unlock the extra super strong classes by actually doing good in the match, then those classes that I do want to play, I have to work towards them, which makes every game less stale. Unless if you're one of those scrubs who always turns up max reinforcements every match. That's really dumb. Never do that. But yeah, I think so when I think besides the tutorial, I think the first champion I ever played was Garen, who on him you want to buy items that give him both health and resistance, and maybe a little bit of damage. So he's known as as kind of a bruiser, someone who can take a lot of damage, but can only deal a little bit. So it's like your tank line. And I think that's a very good place to start playing someone like Garen, because when you're new, you're gonna make a lot of mistakes. So playing tanks is the best way to go. You can make a lot of mistakes and still be fine for the most part. And I think the first champion I bought, I think I bought Ashe. She's an archer. And so that gets you into the concept of playing a ranged champion, and then you can see, oh, so I can hit them from here, and I don't have to be right close to them. I'm not going to finish this level in time. I screwed myself over by messing up. So off the start, you're like, okay, so I can attack these guys, and then they get damage and blah 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 blah. But oh, got it. Oh, that was close. And then, oh shoot, I should probably end this episode. Let's do that, and I'll continue in the next episode.